Hi, everyone, and we're back with this Juneteenth episode, this special episode celebrating Juneteenth on the Stir in the Gumbo Pop podcast. I am your host, the Cajun Peach, and thank you for tuning in and staying with us for our second segment. Now, Miss Valerie Jefferson is someone who I've worked with in the past. She gonna tell you who she is, and we're partnering again this time around for Juneteenth. Miss Valerie, take it away.
Yes, thank you. Thank you again, Sister Peach. We are so glad to be here. When I say we, I'm speaking of my partners of justice, my partners that encourage African Americans to learn how to use their voice, how to use a voice in voting. So my name is Valerie Jefferson. I am the executive member of Amalgamated Transit, that's ATU, International Black Caucus of the Southwest Region. I'm also the president of the ATU Women Caucus here in New Orleans. We are partnered with BVM. So you want to know, what is BVM? BVM is Black Voters Matters. That's what we're here today to use this platform, and we thank Sister Peach for us to get our voice out. We're celebrating Juneteenth. So we have our director of Louisiana, Mr. Chad Sanders, and we also have the New Orleans NAACP president, Mr. Ronald Coleman. He also the vice president of the Louisiana NAACP of District A. He also is on the Democratic Executive Committee. So we have powerful voices here today to celebrate Juneteenth. So be encouraged, be empowered, and be yourself, enjoying your skin. So I'm going to turn you over to our host, Sister Pete.
Okay. And Mr. Ronald, I know I'm gonna have to edit this out. Mr. Ronald,
Yes, ma'am.
we get a lot of feedback from you, and
Okay.
sound like you're busy doing something. I'm getting feedback from you, like you dialing the phone, and I'm hearing whatever it is going on in the background from you, and then your thumb or something was in front of the camera a second ago. I'm gonna edit this part out, so it's okay. Are you ready? Do you need a minute? I'm gonna put him on mute. Do you want me to put you on mute? I can't hear you. Okay.
Okay, you
I
can hear
was
me now?
concerned
You can hear me
about
now?
you. Yeah,
Yeah,
I was just trying to figure out what was going on, if you were ready or not.
yeah, I'm ready.
Um,
I just Miss
okay.
Valerie didn't tell you. I
Oh, yeah.
run
Now
the
Valerie introduced Mr. Chad, and Mr. Ronald Coleman is the NAACP president of New Orleans, or is it Louisiana? Please correct me. What is
New
who
Orleans.
is Mr.
New
Coleman?
Orleans. New Orleans.
Of New Orleans. Okay, I got you. Okay. All right. So, welcome you guys to the Stir in the Gumbo Pot, where we're going to talk about Juneteenth today. So, to start off with our conversation on this segment, as I posed a question to the other panelists who were a guest of the show, what does Juneteenth mean to you?
Oh, you want me to answer now?
You go ahead.
What it means to me, I'm disappointed in the last 30 years of Juneteenth in the African American community. Because when Juneteenth happened, we do right now today. And I had this discussion. We're going to picnic. You know the origin of a picnic? Pick a nigger. This is when the babies was born from the wintertime. And how we celebrate Juneteenth, we're having a picnic and a cookout. It's not a time for that. I'm a student of the 60s and the 70s and the civil rights movement. We were educated to understand words matter. In 1954, the United States Supreme Court Justice Louis Brandeis says, you didn't have absolute freedom of speech because it can present clear and imminent danger. Words does matter. If you continue to celebrate a picnic, if you consider continue to celebrate the N-word and all these rude behaviors from slavery, you only remain to be a slavery. In the last 40 years, we have turned the clock back to slavery. And within our own community, we have fear within our community. Today, I left 2 events. They were planning a picnic for Juneteenth. And the same words I'm telling you guys, I told one of the leading Black social and pleasure clubs of New Orleans how I felt about a picnic. I told one of the churches the same thing about a picnic. So because we're ignorant to our history in the last 40 years, we're repeating and we're living in a lot of fear. So I am very disappointed in Juneteenth 2024 in the African American community.
Okay. Thank you. Mr.
Thank,
Sanders?
thank you again, Sister Peach, for inviting me on. Brother Coleman, pleasure to be introduced to you again. Thank you, Valerie, for giving me this opportunity. You know, Juneteenth is one of those things that really remind us of, to Brother Coleman's point, where we've come from, how much further we still have to go. You know, I'm disappointed that I was 24 years old when I first heard the words Juneteenth.
Mhm.
That nowhere in my education, nowhere in my training, nowhere in my churches, nowhere in my community groups did I understand that more than 4 years after the Emancipation Proclamation, there were brothers and sisters still living in the most remote parts of the Confederacy who did not know. So when I think of Juneteenth for myself, and Brother Coleman, thank you for calling us out as people. We've got to step our game up to be strong, moral, connected, or we say community a lot, our common unity. And at this point, I'm like, what are the ties that bind? You know, I think about the fact that this awakening to who we are and what we represent. I have the pleasure now of being a state organizing manager with Black Voters Matter, where unlike a lot of movements where the audience is convincing other people that you have value, I have the distinct privilege of running up and down this state, left and right, north and south, to talk to us about the resources we have, address the resource gap that we need to solve, and build power together based on our common unity centered specifically on Black joy, love, and respect. I find myself more often than not in the course of my day asking, do we really love each other? Do we see each other? Do we believe in the dignity of what it's like to be brothers and sisters? I miss that generational conversation where when you see a brother or sister walk by each other, we have that salute. We have that moment of connection. And so Juneteenth for me, unfortunately, has to be at least a stopping point that says this country didn't need a second Independence Day. But that tells you who we are. That somehow now this recognition and celebration of Juneteenth still doesn't sometimes speak to the real issue that we have. It's that Black solidarity and Black love is freedom and it is liberation. And I hope that, to your point, we get beyond the day off of work. We get beyond having a barbecue and the opportunity to be extra Black that day and then go back to our regular lives thereafter. So what it means to be is opportunity to wake up and understand that we matter to each other. And I hope that we continue to operate in that solidarity.
Exactly. Miss Valerie?
Yes. Thank you. That is a great question. What Juneteenth means to me is it means Blackness to me. It means empowerment. It means personal with my family and with my friends. It means us gathering together to encourage one another, to enlighten one another, to teach one another. So we get upset about they not teaching African American history in school. What's stopping us for teaching it? What's stopping us for teaching it in the church? What's stopping us for teaching in our neighborhood communities, in our home? What? Who? You know who's stopping us? We stopping our own. We keep on pointing fingers at somebody else. When I grew up, we had to go out there and pick them berries. We had to go out there and pick them cucumbers. And guess what? Who told me to do that? My mama. Guess who told me about me? My mama. Guess who taught me how to be a lady? My daddy taught me how to be a lady, not my mama. My mama taught me about labor. My daddy told me what to expect from a man. So you don't open no door. The man open the door for you. You don't pick up your grocery bag. The man pick up your grocery bag. So we need to learn that from us. Juneteenth is personal to me. That's why I'm so strong about in the NAACP. That's why I'm so strong about Black Voters Matters. Because we matter. The only time we can speak when we vote. I don't have to fight with you. I don't have to sit there and cuss you out. I hit you. I do all that. No, I don't have to do that. But when it come to vote, baby, I got a record how you represented me. I got a record what you said no against my labor, against my justice, against my Medicare, against my Medicaid, how you treat my citizens, how you treat the youth. I have a record on you. So that Juneteenth is very personal to me. That's why I don't mind standing up and speaking up for justice, standing strong for us, because we are people that God created. He created all of us for a reason, for his glory. That means we are beautifully and wonderfully made. So I'm going to leave y'all with that. Thank you for listening.
very passionate, Miss Jefferson, Miss Valerie. Thank you very much. And for me, Juneteenth for me is I celebrate. I celebrate Black History every day. I do, and it's about the history and the slaves who what they endured, and me educating people and trying to teach the youth about who those people were, why it's significant to honor them, and to continue on teaching, right? So that's what Juneteenth means to me, to continue teaching people about our history and where we come from and why we celebrate Juneteenth. So I'm probably gonna be off that day from work, thank goodness, and getting paid for it, and teaching. That's what I plan to do on Juneteenth, right? So that's what Juneteenth means to me.
Can
Um,
I pull one thing together real quick that I just heard from y'all that was so powerful? Is that this
Mhm.
yes,
education? And Miss Valerie talked a lot about where she learned how to be who she is, her
Mhm.
cultural identity, her position as a strong woman. And I hear you saying that, yep, it's still about the education. I think so much of what we've done is believed in other people's systems and institutions that do our work for us. It's
That's
our
right.
job to educate each other
right,
about who we are. And that's
right,
why that's how we build a better Black future. It's because we
right,
know where we've been and
Yes.
we have
mhm,
a more collective understanding of where we're going. So I just want to
right,
flag this. Sorry to jump in front of your
yeah,
next question, but I heard
and
you
that
talk about what we need, and it's the heart of a teacher from between generations, between wherever we are in this journey,
Right.
to be able to stay connected and not rely on other people to tell us who we are. That's a lot of the problem we have as well.
Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
because I could have built this platform into a gossip podcast, right? About entertainment and things like that. But that wasn't serving my purpose in the world. Do you know what I mean? So I said, I don't have time for that. Leave that to other people because they're gonna do that anyway. I wanted to be exceptional. And so that again, teaching and educating the people on blackness. Um next topic is how should we celebrate? Because we just talked about picnics, right? And I think in the last segment, I I talked about what did I talk about how we could celebrate? Like, what is the one thing I think as a collective that we can identify as a way to celebrate? Because from what I heard in the last segment, each state is like doing their own thing. Each state, well, and I think we do that anyway with the Martin Luther King holiday. Each city they put on their own parades and things and celebrate in their own way. But how do we, as a group, as a people, identify and Juneteenth, and how do we differentiate it, and what can we do to honor it? I'm not even going to call it a celebration anymore. I really don't want to call it celebrating, but honoring Juneteenth. How can we honor the holiday to make it meaningful and impactful for our people?
Okay. I started off. I know the Women Caucus, the Women of Action, partnered with the Black Voters Matters. We started on the 17th, right? We started big on the 17th. So we're gonna have I want to say we call it a education power moment that we're gonna be in one of the main intersections of New Orleans, Claiborne and Carrollton. We're gonna be out there with our second line, but we're gonna be passing out flyers, letting everyone know, not just African American, whites, Spanish, everybody. We letting them know about or registration. We're gonna have flyers about registration, about when the time to vote, about your representative, your senators. It's about putting labor out there, educating us. Juneteenth to me, that's why I say making it personal, because we fail by lack of knowledge. Okay, so if
Right.
you don't have that knowledge, how you gonna understand? You don't know what to understand. Then if you don't have that experience in that understanding, how you gonna get wisdom? You get wisdom from God Himself. So we're gonna give them some information. So some people just want information. We're gonna
That's
let
right.
them know Juneteenth coming up on the 19th, right? So this we know today is the 17th, but we here to let you know what's coming up Juneteenth. This about education. Then we doing it that afternoon. That evening, we're gonna be sending out postcards. We're gonna have a postcard party. We doing all this here with our youth. We joined together with our Louisiana Fierce Young Adult Organization. We're doing this all together with the Black Voters Matters, the Women of Action, with our youth. We joining together with other organizations, letting them know what it's all about, Juneteenth, all about us going forward, not moving backward, not even standing still, but we're going forward with a loud voice speaking. So that's what we're trying to do with our community, with the generation now and the generation coming behind us. That's what we're gonna be doing with our community.
Whoa, that's a hard one, Miss Val. So here's one of the things we're doing. Next Sunday is Father's Day, and we're partnering with a Social and Pleasure Club. And one of the things we're going to make this legislature and these bills pass personal. House Bill 355 says if I feel my life is threatened while I'm sitting at a second line or Indian crossing, I have the right to murder you because my life is in danger. That was done by J. Gay Galley, former Channel 6 reporter. So he's representing the little hick town over the road over here. And what it says is if the Indians doing their possession, I feel threatened, I could run over them and nothing would happen to me. That's House Bill 355. So one of the segments in our community that's out every Sunday, there's 52 weeks a year, the Social and Pleasure Clubs. So we partner with New Philippians Church, the NAACP, and the Perfect Gentleman. We have a float we're going to be on passing out saying, when you vote, when you don't vote, you die. And we
Mm.
encourage folks to tell their stories. And I know all of you all know this story here. You know Tums, right? The antacid for your stomach. Well, let
Yeah.
me tell you,
Yeah.
but the agree in our community, Tums, Tulane University Medical School. There were one bus stop in the uptown area, and this still affects me today. It was at Shakespeare Park, and they had one bus stop at Ferret and LaSalle. You came from cleaning the white people house back in the days, and you were right there, and everybody went in groups and went home. There was this guy, the black guy, they called him Corky. He would say, hey man, I know you, what's your name? You look familiar. And he pull you to the side and they kidnap you. Tulane University Medical School, that's Tums. They would kidnap us. My great uncle, my great great uncle, Uncle Welton, he disappeared as a seaman. And we come to find out they brought him up to Tulane and they used him for a guinea pig study for Tums. And so when you're from uptown New Orleans, this is what we know. Somebody said, man, I know you. No, you don't know me because we knew about that. And so one of the things happened in our community, we have to tell those stories. In 1961, they integrated the school. We didn't have a cell phone, right? But I entered McDonald 36. The school was built for 250. They had 1,500 in that school. Guess what they built us? They built us a school just like the prison at Angola, William J. Gus. 4 years later, I went into an infirmary. And these are the things that we talk about. You have to tell those stories. You got to get with the folks and remind them. I work in a jail, and the brother had the misinformation. Malcolm gave a beautiful thing. They got two kind of niggas: the house nigga and the field nigga. And I let him tell the whole story. And he's going to do 20 years on his way to Angola next week. I said, there's a song about Angola. There's a big white man on a big white horse. Some call him captain, some boss. But here's a guy have 9 bullets in his gun in a walkie-talkie, and they walk a mile and a half every morning, 72 murderers, killers, and all that you can dream of, and they don't do him anything because of the mindset.
Mm.
Because I'm a field nigga. Now, you do something wrong. You don't pick enough in the field. I could cut you or hurt you. But this man sits on the horse, and you call him boss. So Malcolm was good, but he misinterpreted. How did Harriet Tubman find out about the North Star? She heard it from her slave masters in the house. If you let the record reflect the fact, most slave owners died from poisoning than they did the ones in the field. So another piece, the worst thing happened to us was segregation. I just left the Jockey Lounge where brothers in this organization, they say we should have had our own. Let the record reflect. We didn't have any businesses. We had ballrooms and restaurants, but we segregation gave me the opportunity. It wasn't for me to go sit down in the restaurant. It gave me an opportunity. I could go to that restaurant and do some of the other things. Prime example, August 1968. My mother touched a pair of size 9 shoes in Krause. The store detective made a bomb, and I wore a 10. And those are the things, the stories we have to listen to our folks tell them again. We came back on the Jackson bus, all of us in the back of the bus, and one laid in the front. So we have forgotten. We have made it so easy because we go back to that wonderful word. I got two brothers in the city. They're dressed in some beautiful African outfits. They have Islamic name. They're Islam. But you know when they greet you, know what they say? What's up, my nigga? And this is where we are. I work in the jail. I'm with the folks every day. And young black folks are so comfortable saying around white people, man, that nigga that nigga that. So we have put a piece together saying it's about to come back to bite you. And we have to demand. I'm not afraid of none of them on the street or nowhere else or nothing they do. Because at the end of the day, once you tell them where they are in a calm manner where it's at, we're okay. So I close by saying I look forward to us have to tell the story, and we have stopped telling the story. Remember, Tums, Tulane University Medical School.
Mm.
Thank you,
Mr.
Brother
Chad?
Coleman, because that's largely what I was just going to say, that if there's a way for us to get beyond a day off and an opportunity just to kind of enjoy being fun and black for one day, my understanding of Juneteenth was supposed to be about celebrate, educate, and agitate. We are supposed to move the needle forward through this intergenerational conversation about where our people have come from. I think that talking about freedom and liberation still scares some of us because we got to go on our jobs and we got to say yes, ma'am, and no, sir, to people that don't respect you. And that don't mean always that they don't look like you. Sometimes, and I've vacated spaces and employment opportunities where I'm not going to be a glorified overseer. I'm not going to do their bidding. And so what I heard Brother Coleman saying is they don't have to call you a name no more because we'll do it to each other.
That's
That
right.
is the mindset of
That's right.
accepting money and perceived freedom, but not truly even knowing what free looks like. And you want to build a beautiful black future for each other. What does it mean to walk around and use your authentic voice? Use your real name. You speak how you speak, dress how you dress, treat each other how we treat each other without having to adjust around the idea of whiteness. That's oftentimes what we're negotiating around. I began my career in sales, then I worked in government. And if I continued to know myself more and more and more, I realized that everything that I called professional was assimilation. I just didn't offend white people no more. My name is Chad, so that doesn't bother you as much. If I change the way I talk, I'm a 6'2", 200-pound black guy, so I got to kind of hold my body in a way that don't intimidate nobody. But just in a moment, I never not knew who I was when I walked out the door. My dad taught me, go learn everything they know, because they'll never know what you know. And I do think that somewhere in this journey, we've lost that collective understanding. I'd love to hear from y'all and some of my elders about why this intergenerational gap is there. I love that y'all, particularly Louisiana, are still fighting for strong NAACP chapters, because I guarantee you, I have nieces and nephews that are 24, 25 years old. They probably don't know what NAACP stands for.
Right.
They're not. It's sad and disappointing. And somewhere along the way, when we got enough jobs and we got into certain schools, right, and we get to move around how we want to, we forgot about us. And so I love this concept of really fighting for an understanding of Juneteenth that requires more of us. And I would just ask our elders, what can we do? If I'm kind of standing in the gap at 42 years old, how do I get a 22-year-old, a 25-year-old to really understand what it took for them to enjoy the freedoms they do have today? That people blood was shed to have this opportunity we have today. So I just kind of that's how I try to process what that means to be truly liberated.
Okay.
Well, I think the common theme here that I've heard from each one of you who answered and responded to that question was education and teaching, right? And so I think now the challenge is how do we reach, as Mr. Chad said, how do we fill in that generational gap? What means do we use? What medium? Because I think social media has come in and distracted, and not only distracted, but turned the corner, turned it in this generation into something different for us, because now our attention is on dance challenges and entertainment, and everybody is their own little star in the world, and everybody has their take, whether it be right or wrong, the good information or bad information is being spread, right? So how and what means do we utilize to fill in that gap, to teach the people the truth, to get the word to them, because right now we have no control over our own medium and how we communicate. That's why, again, I say I'm using my platform, I think, in a positive way, unlike a lot of other people. So it's a hard job. It's a challenge. We can't even get them in the voting booth, let alone teach them the truth. So, some people don't want to hear it. If it's not entertaining them, or if it's not going to bring them a bag or whatever, they don't have time for it. I see a lot of memes on there. They don't want to hear it. So we still have a long way to go, I think, in the Black community, with even, we have a goal, but how do we reach our goal in educating people about where we come from and really what we're still up against? Anybody want to speak to that?
I think with this governor, what has happened to us, as I said, next week we're going to use what's in front of us. And I even think we have to use it all the way around the subject in that area. I could not go on the lakefront and tell those folks we concerned about being stuck in a parade that I might get run over. That's not their concern. So we took that message, we bring it to the folks that it affect. That is the social and pleasure clubs and the culture. So they're looking to come out next week and show their support. But then you have to pay attention. So the next part is our children. We don't have children. They're not going to feed the children in the state of Louisiana for no apparent reason whatsoever. But then again, we have to call out queens of the earth out. We have the worst birth control law in the country, and we bragging that if you get caught with a contraception, it's a class 1. Now, my involvement in 1972, I'm going to be honest with you, all I joined America for was to go to Mexico. But they sent me to Utah Rehabilitation Center. In 1972, a guy named Robert Woods was about to graduate from Southern University as an accountant major, hated out. The buses went on strike. The number one drug dealer in the city from uptown, the police watched him all night, gave this guy a ride to Suno. When he got to Suno, they busted him. So here's a guy that's on the dean's list, about to go off to, I think it was one of his Honeywell companies, right? He's looking at 99 years for possession of heroin. On the books, it says possession of heroin, nothing from the judge, is automatic 99 years. That was my first time I got involved. By the time I went away to school in 1976, we gave that back to the state of Louisiana. It took us 20-something years. In 2016, we finally got it off the book that give the discretion back to the judges. That says possession of heroin, whether it's a bundle, a bag, or a box, you was guaranteed 99 years. So one of the things we have to look at in the areas where it faces, but we're doing this with birth control now. Just think, you get caught with birth control pill or the so-called abortion pill, you are looking at 10 plus years in prison. So that is crazy. That's real crazy. And we bragging. We got the birth control pill is the number one scheduled drug in America. Come on, really? So at the end of the day, we have to take the issues that matters to us to the folks where it matters at. But I don't want to drift away, but I want to ask you all a question. When you go to Walmart or your favorite store, you give them your money and they give you a receipt, right? So what we're training you now, when you go to vote, you ask that commissioner, what number am I today? You know your ward and your precinct, what machine I'm voting on, and what is my number on the machine? You know what happens with that? I done got 37 people of Social Security without getting a lawyer this year alone. That's the informed voter. So I vote at Ward 10, Precinct 12. I was number 8 on my book, a voting machine number 230, and I was 127. When every politician, even the dog catcher, even Bill Cassidy, Steve Scalise, when they hear those numbers, guess what they do? They know you're informed voter. We tell people to vote, but we have to get them to be educated to voting. Get your receipt.
Right? That's what I was talking about earlier, about educating people about voting and what all that entails,
right?
And how to read a ballot and what is an ordinance and what is all these different things on there, right? Even the walking in the door, how you sign in, how you walk out of there. It's a process,
right?
And you have to want to be a part of the process, because that will leave you frustrated and saying, I don't want to go back. That was too much. I'm not doing that again. So and they're making it that way so we can stay out of the polls. They're making it more and more complicated. If you don't have the right ID, if you're not on the right list, if you haven't done this, then you can't It's just crazy. And then we have somebody who's on the ballot for president who is now a criminal. Like, really? What? Where are we as a nation? But anyway, I'm sorry. That was like,
No, that's good. Keep it going.
you know, we and this 25 thing, which I haven't really delved into. What is this 25? Do y'all know what I'm talking about? Like this
Yeah,
25
the
point
20,
things that.
yeah, I've been on it, and one of the things they brought it up, and the Democrat has theirs as well. I'm not too alarmed about the far right and their projection of what they're trying to do in the country. We had a forum and some discussion about that when it first came out, and what they're trying to do is eliminate the Department of Education, the whole 9 yards. But let's just remember one thing, and I'm saying from an inside place. Do you think the world will allow America with this orange conundrum to come in and eliminate NATO and turn this country over to communists? If you don't think they'll let Donald Trump choke on a bubble gum or slip down on a bar soap, because the world, if you watch the words they didn't say this week, Europe is afraid of Donald Trump coming to office. He's already sided with Putin, and you're talking about Switzerland, and all those countries right there. They're on the end of their chairs. A report coming out today after the president leaves, that whole piece is on the end of their chairs with Ukraine and what comes next. And so I we are encouraged, and we are encouraged because it's not going to be what we think it is. Now they're going to tell you he's up in the polls, and all the polls don't mean anything, and that's part of the thing of what they do. But rest assured, the world can take Donald Trump as president.
I hope. I hope not. I hope not. Mr. Chad, we didn't hear from you about well, I think we were we talking about how we should celebrate. Did we get that out? What?
You got Juneteenth, but I'll tell you, I'm happy to brag on a little bit about Black Voters Matter and why this role that I'm in now is so
Great.
important in a space like this. So we talked about how do we celebrate? What's next? How do we connect these dots around education? One of the things that Black Voters Matter Fund is so unapologetically and clear about is that it's about being 365 Black. We fight back. We don't black down. We do take breaks. That the idea that the ballot box is a lag measure. All the work that we do to go into every community we can and meet folks where they are. So BVM is a C3. We do a lot of training, education, and voter awareness. I have also the ability to work in my C4 capacity. 501c4 allows me to issue advocate, to talk about certain candidates, talk about certain bills. And then we also have a super PAC. So there are people who are on the right side of our issues that BVM funds. All of these roads, all these avenues that we use, these mechanisms are to get in front of our people and, to your point, figure out what we do. So often people come tell us what matters to us rather than asking us. Oh, and Brother Coleman seems like one good old school organizer. You go find your people, then you find your issues. You don't present, because that's why there's this disconnect. We're talking about stuff that doesn't feel real. When you talk about taking that session and making it personal, in the barbershop, the beauty salon, the social aid pleasure club, the guys hanging on the corner. Do you understand that what we're dealing with our current leadership that we just saw this wild session is because of being asleep at the wheel for the previous couple of years? We didn't think they mattered. We didn't know what was going to happen. And so now more than ever, even though the federal elections are going to go the way they go in Louisiana, we got to be thinking about our municipal elections in New Orleans and Baton Rouge. I mean, think about how much of Louisiana is driven by what's going to happen in those city halls. What are we? And rather than complain and campaign, rather than just a cult of personality of who we like and who we don't, who makes us feel better about who we are and what side of town we're from, what are we really asking of our leaders? You know, I know the numbers are creeping down every year. New Orleans was a traditionally 60% Black city. Do you know that's like a city on a shining hill in America, to say that you have a place that is authentically itself? You're going to adjust to language, food, culture, the way of life, and we don't have the power to be self-determined in what we expect from our leaders, what we expect from ourselves. The fact that we have an all-charter public school system still blows my mind, right? I was talking to some of our organizing friends down in Violet, Louisiana, where they're going to move that high school to extend the port. That predominantly Black high school might not be on the Black side of town anymore. And that's not a former President 45. That's not a Jeff Landry issue. That's your school board. That's your parish council. If we teach each other how to organize around your everyday issues and know how to show up for public comment opportunities, how to text, call, write, show up, use your voice every day, instead of waiting for now the results. We're eating the bad fruit of a lot of laziness and misguided stuff and a lot of misunderstandings. And we're going to that point, if there's a way to take Juneteenth to having a rallying cry, a galvanizing moment around voting, is how many more of these headlines do you want to read and wait for them to decide what you get and what you don't get? How do we activate and get motivated about the issues we care about today? And I'll just finish here. When you mentioned, Brother Coleman, the issue around reproductive rights, I was sitting at the legislature watching Representative Newell and Amy Freeman debate the abortion bills against, at the time, a panel full of white women representing their districts. And what was so sad is that physicians and women are having this argument about their bodies in the criminal justice committee, not health, not somewhere we're thinking about families and thinking about family structure and how to protect and people's freedoms and self-determination. No, we're deciding who's going to get in trouble. And Representative Newell talked about how she can't, even if they get an OBGYN clinic in the East, what doctor wants to take the risk of being arrested for help? I thought the conservatives wanted government out of your business, but somehow the government wants to stay off your wallet, but be in your bedroom, be in the doctor-patient conversation. So that's to that point. We've got to be able to make very clear that when we fall asleep at the wheel, when we entrust our future to other people, we're in charge of this every day together. That's why I'm proud of what BVM does, is that whatever your organization is, big, small, C4, C3, LLC, we're going to meet you where you are. I know my job is done when folks feel empowered to take control of their everyday Black life, right? We got to yell at them about us mattering. We got to matter to each other and use what we got.
That's right.
Yep. And I think this might be our last talking point. And I have a few here, but I'm gonna pick one. And you may have an answer, but you may not. And this is the question: Who are our nationally? Who are our Black leaders?
Well,
Who are?
let me answer you from with 50 years experience. Whenever they make us a leader, they kill him. Let's be real. When Martin the leader, they kill him. Malcolm, the list goes on. So I'd never. They made Jesse. They would have killed Jesse, but they tried to assassinate Jesse. They'd kill Jesse that came out. This is the records that was released in 2022. I'll tell you, just go to the Library of Congress and pull it up. Jesse Jackson got character assassination, so they discredit him. One of the things happened. I hear this all the time. The NAACP, Derek Johnson's not doing nothing. Mike McCallahan not doing nothing. I'm not doing nothing. Well, I'm gonna tell you where I'm at. I'm having a lot of problems with my branch. Not with my branch, with the people, because I don't beat my drum. I pray as much as I can to be like Jesus. Jesus didn't come and testify and said, I made the blind man see again. He didn't tell you I've got the guy leprosy again. Now, I'm not going to tell you nothing, but I'll tell you one thing. I'm not no killer, but God knows, please don't push me. I will go fight you till hell freezes over, and I will fight you on ice. But I'm not going to say nothing about it. But at the end of the day, that's not the way that I am. And I don't believe in that. We're going to get you. And so one of the things happened, I sat down and talked to the national president. We are in an economic bind in the Black community. And some things he's putting in place that we are benefiting from on the long-term effect, because you can't do this overnight. We're talking about easing some of the debt with our college, home ownership. And see, one of the things we got tricked in owning a home, a single-family home. Well, there's an analogy that I always had I never smoked, but the average smoker says there was two kinds of cigarettes they smoke. Your brand and other people's brand. When I started out as a young man, I bought a double. Next door paid my note for 10 years, and I was able to save my rent, put money up for my children, and do a whole bunch of other things. But in the Black community, home ownership, they gave us single homes, where in this city, the white man had doubles. So we have a lot of things that's in place from the national. On the state level, the state president is working on some other tangibles that we can become multifaceted. Now, here's one drum I don't like to beat. But do you know the NFL in Louisiana right now have 340 minority business for Black folks? We talked with them 2 years ago, and they came to fruition. They said, I don't need to be at the press conference. Long as we got 300 Black folks at the table, I don't need nothing to do with it. Nothing whatsoever. At the end of the day, Super Bowl acknowledge us and give us some of this money. So sometime when we see our leaders and what they're doing, like I said, Jesus didn't announce his thing, but they found it anyway, and they nailed him to the cross. So sometimes you just have to keep your mouth closed and do the job. So we have leaders. Miss Val is a wonderful leader. Dear brother, I met him moving over. He's a good, cool, calm. We have the same thing. We tall black men, right? We have an African nose. So at the end of the day, I don't, you have to mind how you move, even around some of us, because they say, you don't say this loud. It is what it is. But at the end of the day, we have leaders all over the place. On the national level, we get Troy Carter. He helps his folks on Social Security, left and right. He's doing a lot of great things, acknowledging where we have to go. But once we announce our leaders, what happened to them?
Right.
It's a character assassination.
Right. Mm-hmm. I know. And a lot of us don't know who they are. That's why I posed the question, because they used to be more notable. We knew who they were. Now, again, we in the social media age, and so now I think the generation that Mr. Chad was speaking about, they identify their leaders as social media content creators, and so I want this generation to know who those people are. And I know what you mean by the whole COINTELPRO thing, and yeah, because one of my leaders was assassinated, Malcolm X. But so I'm gonna throw the question to you, Miss Valerie. Who are our leaders?
Who are our leaders? Okay. To me, we have some backdoor leaders, right? So when I say backdoor leaders, that means that you would talk big behind closed doors or just a small group or in a meeting. But when you get a platform to speak the truth, to live the truth, to call people out, to speak on what is not happening, should be happening for all people, right? But you do not do that because somebody done got in your ear, or somebody done put a little paper in your little pocket, or you done got your way for self gain. So I say we have in-house leaders. We have I want to say we have public leaders nationally, but I don't see us have any national leaders. Because when we do call them out, they will be dead.
And that's
Yeah, and then, but I do have personal leaders, city leaders, um, state leaders that I can look up to. One of them right here is on the platform with us today, Mr. Coleman. Yes, he one of my leaders that I will speak up for my brother anytime, anywhere, any place with anybody, publicly and privately. And he know that, not everybody else gonna know that. I'm next learning Mr. Chad, but I know I've been working with Mr. Chad. Mr. Chad still speaking up for us. He still do things for us that's out of the ordinary that he just came on. But he still speak the word with truth and with boldness. And guess what? With a background, with information that a bag of what he speak. So you don't know, Mr. Chad. People be watching you and listening to you. So that's very important, because when the next generation, when the young generation see you and hear you speaking, they want to know where you get that from. Who told you that? You got to have documentation to back that up, because you got to make it personal to them. So if you're going to be a leader, a female or male, you got to show them. If you cannot show them, you're not no leader to them. And that's them are the generation going to take care of us.
That's right.
So a leader is a person that will speak up, will stand up for justice for us all.
Yes.
Will deny themselves for the better good of mankind. If a leader cannot do that, guess what? You're not no leader in my eyes.
That's right.
So that's all I have to say.
Right. Right. That's right. And I have my own personal leaders. They're not nationally known, right? You guys, I consider Miss Valerie one of my leaders. She's my sister. We become very close because her message and her fight is so positive, and it, especially with women. right? She's a real sister. I swear she is. And my sister also, Miss Shawan Bernard. I mean, I have my own list of people, but I think that as a Black as a whole, I think we're missing what we used to have, that defining person in leadership we can just look to. It's so many. I think they broke us all out now. And it, I guess it depends on where you want to be led to, how you want to be led, right? But my hope is for people to, if you can't find that leadership within yourself, that you find it somewhere. It might be in a church. It could be somebody on a platform who's speaking, because there are people out here on platforms who speaking positive messages, and they're on, a trajectory of growth and leadership. So I just hope that the younger generation would find somebody who can lead them and show them the way to righteousness and learning about our past. So I think that's it. I think we're at the end of our segment, Miss Valerie. What you think?
Yeah, this was very good, very empowering and enlightening. So hopefully and prayerfully that everyone who watched this at any time, you can watch it in the morning, late at night, in the midday hour, lunchtime while you're eating, that you will be encouraged with the message and with the information that each guest has spoke. Hope you hear with your ears and receive it with your heart, and your soul will stand up for justice, will stand up and vote, because that's when you can speak loud, when you vote. So I really think it was very good, Sister Peach. You did very well.
I didn't, what I didn't do last segment, and I would like to do this segment, is give our guests, Mr. Coleman and Mr. Sanders, the opportunity to let people know, like, if they have a platform, if they're on social media, or encourage them to maybe join the NAACP or Black Voters Matter. Please expound on that, Mr. Chair. How can you be reached? What do our audience need to know about you in order to learn from you?
BlackVotersMatterFund.org is a hub for all the information, training, and questions you may have about how we use our power. When you read the core values of Black Voters Matter, it is centered and focused exclusively on how we take care of each other. This isn't about how to improve the Black vote for somebody else on somebody's issue. But BlackVotersMatterFund.org is an opportunity to look at whatever state you're in, whatever issues you care about, get connected to other partner organizations. We don't do this work by ourselves at all. Without the NAACPs, without Miss Valerie and all the various hats she wears, without you, Sister Peace, elevating these conversations, our work doesn't exist. Our work is a function of what we truly believe and want to see in and with each other. So I would just recommend go to BlackVotersMatterFund.org, select your state, and you'll connect to other state organizing managers like myself, our policy team, and that'll be the best place to begin that conversation about what you care about and how we can elevate that together.
Okay, and I'm going to link that in the description of this. When it goes to YouTube, I'll put that link in the description of the video. Mr. Coleman?
Well, I'm an old guy, and I know one thing about our network. I never gave my number to nobody, but I get at least 100 calls a day. We never send our membership. We have folks journey. We have fights and people show up. So people don't care about what you say, what you put out. They care about what you do. But dear sister, I have to get this off and I missed it. We talked about our leaders. Do you know the founder of the Black Lives Matter movement was killed in New Orleans? And nobody talked about it. And I witnessed it. I went out there when it happened. It was done by the CIA. It was the same kind of killing they was doing. I could share more of it with you. When you said the national leaders, I was kind of hesitant, but they're going to do what they're going to do anyway. But he was killed in New Orleans. Wow. A national leader called him down here to meet this lady, and she sent him on a bicycle. And they found him 2 blocks from my house, shot in his right ventricle with 2 drops of blood on the ground.
Wow.
And that was I shared an article. You could Google it up. Black Lives Matter founder killed in New Orleans, and and that's once again about our leaders. But I'll leave it with this. To get in touch with us, just reach out. We're here. You can get my number. My number is area code 504-975-4901. I tell that everywhere I go all around the country. But here's the
Say
part.
that again, because I'm going to run it.
All
Say
right.
it again.
I'll say it slow. Area code 504-975-4901. You can call me anytime, anything, anywhere. But one thing I do not want you to call me. That's collecting. That means you're in jail. Now, I do have some paroling powers depending on the charges. But at the end of the day, when you come to New Orleans, you know folks coming. Don't go for the hype. You're going to get your Jerry bees because if you pull it out, they will take you to jail. So, again, call me anytime, anywhere. Just don't call me collect. I'll
Okay.
do
And
what I can to get you.
I'm going to also link NAACP New Orleans chapter in the description as well.
That's fine.
So
We ready.
I would like to thank all of you for joining in the conversation about Juneteenth this year, 2024. I appreciate you contributing to the conversation. Honor this day, Juneteenth, coming up next Wednesday, June 19th. It's more than, for me, like I said, about a celebration. It's about honoring. It's about honoring the people who came before us.
Yes.
And that's how I'm going to end it. Thank you guys. Thank you, everyone. And happy Juneteenth, everyone, from Stirring the Gumbo Pot.
Happy
Thank you.
Juneteenth. Happy Juneteenth,
Thank you
everybody.
again.
Now, don't hang up. Don't hang up.
I think what y'all got going on, we got to do this more often. This is all right. Mhm. Mhm. Yep. Yeah. Did you just see the whole thing? It was like I was like that was very theatrical within itself. It was like a perfect moment. Like, did you plan that? I'm like, sold. I'm here for it. Sign me up. Y'all, that is a conversation. Yep. But that's a good way. Mm. Yeah. Yep. 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 Mhm. Okay. Mhm. Oh, yep. Oh, yeah. Come on now. Say feed the children. I lived in Atlanta. We did. Mm. You are. You are. Yeah. Mhm. She says 99. Yeah, it's been at 99. Is it still recording? Mine's still kind of beeping. Mine's still doing like the look. Okay. Yeah, is there anything I need to do with mine? I mean, I hadn't touched any buttons. Yeah. See. Let's see. When the recording is done, you may need to stick around a little to upload high quality report. It says 99%. It's still at 99. Let's see. Yeah. Mine still does, but well, it's still blinking. I don't know. Does that mean it's recording or not still? Okay. Well, I don't want to mess anything up. I'll hold on. Well, can I do this real quick, guys? I'm gonna go off camera, get me some water. I'll be back in a second. I got you. I'm gonna stay with it. I'm gonna stay with it. It's a lot. Yeah. So I replaced Amari a couple months ago, and then Couture's last day was May 25th. Amari has her own organization, and I think she is got something else coming up soon. I don't want to, speak on nobody's behalf. But I know she works her own organization ASAP, but then I think she's being recruited for similar work. It'll be something close to what she's already doing. And then Couture is taking a little bit of a break. I know she's being a primary caregiver to grandma and just kind of figuring out next steps. Yeah, so a little bit of a change, but I'm gonna do my part to earn y'all's trust and respect along the way. Yeah. Sister Peach, are you frozen or you just holding perfectly still? Okay. Now I wonder why mine has been yeah, mine been sitting at 99 the whole time. I just don't know whether mine been sitting at 99% the whole time. Come on, it. Is yours done, Valerie? Yours is done? Yours says 100? Okay, so yours is still going. I, yeah. Mhm. And just out here floating. I mean, I like hanging out, but I just, I don't want to hold up nobody's recording. You think so? Well, why don't I do this? What I'll do is I'll pop off, but I'll stay close to my phone. Val, if you just want to let me know if they're having any issues, I'll stay close by in case we got to like redo anything or whatever. You know what I mean? So y'all just let me know. Seriously, thank y'all. And I really do appreciate this today. We're going to thank y'all so much. Absolutely. Good. I ain't mad at it. Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Okay. Well, look. Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you so much. All right, y'all. I'll stay close by if we need to do anything, but just give me a holler. Okay. Thank y'all again. Okay. All right.